Peace and blessings, soul family. Adam Jackson here with another episode of the Sacred Sons podcast. Sacred Sons, I am honored to get to know and to meet so many incredible brothers along this journey together. And with that, we have an amazing guest today by the name of Hugo Chacon. He's one of the brothers that's been with Sacred Sons from the very beginning, coming in as a participant, making some incredible transformations in his own life. And now he is becoming one of our leaders, and he will be leading the EMX Mexico City as we go down to Mexico this fall. I'm so stoked. I'm so proud to be able to bring this medicine to other countries, to other continents. Europe, we're coming for you. Look out for information on the European dates soon. And with that, our guest today, he's a husband and father of three beautiful children. He has over 15 years experience in social services, working with at-risk youth. He's a kickboxing trainer, and in 2018, he joined Sacred Sons at EMX in San Diego, and now will be joining us as a leader in Mexico. Please welcome my brother, Hugo Chacon.
Such an honor to be here, brother. Oh my God. I'm so excited.
Bro, I'm excited too. It's an honor for me. It's an honor for me. You know, we're now in a ceremony of conversation, just you and I. We don't always get a chance to do that.
Yeah.
You know, and so with that today, I'm looking forward to getting to know you on a deeper level, and also to highlight some of the amazing transformations that I've witnessed just over these last 4 years in your life. So I want to bring all that through today. Before we do, let's go ahead and take a deep breath for ourselves. Let's take one more for our families, because I know you're a family man. One more breath in. Scanning the body, feeling what is alive and present. And Hugo, on this beautiful day, what is most alive within you?
Well, I'm just so grateful to be here today. What's present is just gratitude for all it took to get here in front of you today. It's been a journey, man, and never did I imagine that I would be sitting here with you doing this podcast when I started, you know. But that's how great the universe is. It just unfolds like that, and I'm just grateful for it all, brother. All of it.
Beautiful. We could all use a little gratitude. Adam Jackson checking in. I'm checking in with choice because today I made the choice to get up early. I took care of some chores that Hannah has been asking me to take care of. You know what I mean? And I had the choice. This morning I woke up at 6 a.m. I'm like, am I going to get on my phone and fuck around, or am I going to make the choice and get up and do the things I know I got to do?
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And I feel great because of that. I truly do. I didn't put it off. I didn't wait. I made the choice in the moment. And we all know those mornings, that first choice that we make in the day is so important. And so, you know, with that, I'm just sharing a little bit of encouragement to my brothers. Remember who decides. You know, your life is not up to anyone else. There's no partner, no friend, no boss that can choose for you. And so with that, I decide to do my chores, Hugo. You know what I'm saying?
I decide.
Yeah, man. And sometimes it's those small choices. Sometimes it's the small choices that add up to the big changes in our lives. So with that, I am in. And Hugo, I got to tell you, I'm witnessing a massive transformation in you. You know, over these past couple of years, you've slimmed down, you're looking great, you're showing up embodied as a leader. I mean, what's happening? What's going on with you?
Oh man, where do I start? Man,
Start with what's most recent, and then I'm going to ask you to go into the past.
Okay. Well, for me, what's really present is the father's journey, brother. And what came through really strong for me as I sat through many ceremonies was that I'm here to break some generational cycles. I'm here to have things end with me. And I committed to doing the heavy lifting so my kids and my kids' don't have to do that. They'll have their own things to work through. But if I can take care of what I need to take care of, I am. And that takes, for me, it takes a lot of willingness to keep leaning in, and be okay with not knowing what's going to happen or where it's going to go. And in my father's journey right now with my three beautiful kids, I'm crossing these thresholds right now where I'm seeing the cycles being broken, where I'm moving through things with my kids that in my experience as a kid, my dad would have reacted through physical violence, whether it was misbehaving in school or not doing something or spilling something. My father reacted with, he used to hit us a lot, hit me a lot. And so I'm catching myself in these moments of where my kids are doing these things. And I'm like, oh, this is where my dad would have hit me. This is where my dad would have done this. How can I choose different? What can I do differently? And so I'm having this experience of making these choices, like you said in the beginning, of I'm choosing this path of the long game. It's not about them now. It's about teaching them the long game.
Yeah.
And so that's where I am right now with these constants crossing. And the only way I can stay clear with these thresholds is to take care of myself. And that's where the physical has come in. Because the last year and a half has been this embodiment of my body. Because when what I experienced as a kid through the sexual abuse and the physical abuse, I've learned that I disembodied and I left. And so now it's just coming back into my body and feeling again and being okay with feeling. Because for a very long time, I was doing everything not to feel because it hurts so bad.
Yeah. So when you first showed up with us in 2018, why did you show up? What were you holding, and what was the reason for even seeking out a space like this, for stepping into the medicine path?
Yeah. So I was in my barber's chair and I saw Preston Smiles came on. He was watching Preston Smiles.
Yeah.
And to see a brother that I could resonate with and what he was saying landed so deeply. It just so happened that he was holding his bridge workshop like 2 weeks after that. And I signed up for his bridge workshop. And that was my first introduction to breath work, somatic release, ecstatic dance. Before that, I didn't know any of that. I just came in and I was like, and I got introduced to this world of, for the first time, feeling this connection to something much bigger than me, which I had lost up to that point. And a byproduct of my experience with sexual abuse was that I was carrying around this energy of feeling dirty. I always felt dirty. I couldn't feel clean, and my actions were dirty. I was manipulating, I was lying, I wasn't living life. And I knew there was a part of me that knew that wasn't the way to go.
Yeah, it was like you're identifying with that aspect of your experience, like, this is who I am.
Yeah. And that's what I was showing
and,
up.
And there's, it feels like there's no way to shake that.
Yeah. I mean, I was to the point where it was getting so painful. I didn't know if it was worth even continuing to live, brother. Like, that's where I was when I arrived with Preston and his partner, Alexis. And so that weekend went by, and it so happened that Jetty was there. And Jetty,
shout out to Jetty. Shout out to Preston Smiles.
That's right. Jetty was there, and talking to him, I saw Sacred Sons, and my soul knew right away. This is where I needed to be. And I called, I signed up. I ended up signing up for the wrong weekend. And I emailed Neil and I was like, hey, can you move my registration to the weekend before? And then somehow I got to like, would it be beneficial to attend both weekends?
Oh, wow.
And he's like, totally. And so then I just signed up for both weekends. And it just so happened that they were saving combo at those retreats. And that was my first. I didn't even know what combo was. I had not done any medicine up to that point, but my soul knew, and I signed up for combo, and then everything just opened up. It was.
Yeah, and this is like when we say the work, right? This was your real introduction to the work, not just through the modalities of breath, of shadow work, or of combo, but like of doing the inner work, of actually taking a look at what's going on inside. And so what did you find? What when you decided to take a look and to do the inner work, what was that experience like? And before you answer, I'll share with my perspective, because to be really honest with you, when I saw you, and I've been in some deep waters with you,
yeah,
and I could see how the depth at which you were able to go, and that we were able to hold you in it, and sometimes restrain you in it, because it's that deep. That was the first time for me when I saw Sacred Sons, like, oh, this can actually have real lasting impact, and I'll say it like this. You show up, you're a big dude, you're covered in tattoos. For a lot of other men, that may be intimidating. But then to see you in the depth of your vulnerability and pain, and to come out of it and rise up out of it, like from the outside looking in, you inspired me, brother. You inspired me, like, that this was worth it, that this mission actually has meaning. So what was it like for you?
For me, it was, well, thank you for the reflection, Adam. Appreciate that. And yeah, man, you put me in some spaces where you put me through, man, and forever grateful for that. For me, it was multi-layered, man. First of all, to come into a space where it was all men, and at it 150 men was fucking scary for me, because all the traumas up to then had been at the hand of men.
Right.
Second part, growing up, I was given the story that you can't trust people that don't look like you. But yet, all the traumas I experienced were at the hands of people that look like me. So I couldn't trust people who didn't look like me, and yet I couldn't trust people that look like me either. And so big part of the journey was me coming into alignment with that piece. And I actually remember asking myself this question of like, why do these guys even care about me? It's like, why are they even taking the time? Like, am I that important? Like, like, they don't know me. And yet I was received with this love and this space to explore. And my physical body didn't feel safe, but my soul did. My soul was like, you're home. It's time to do the work. It's time to dive in. And it's time to rewrite your story the way you want.
Yeah.
And that was huge for me. To be walked through thresholds by brothers that I didn't know, that were outside of my norm. I never hugged so much in a fucking weekend, like that weekend. Like, there's so many, like the touch was dangerous to me, to the point, Adam, that part of it that drove me there was that I couldn't even bathe my children because I was scared of touching them.
Right.
Because I was scared I was going to touch them the wrong way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's where I was, bro. That's where I was. And to be in this space with all these men, and then to do the ritual combat and have you body slam me the way you did, just shook my soul awake. And it was like, physical touch is okay. Like, physical touch is okay. Like, you can be touched, you can be loved by men. And that just broke and opened up a different paradigm for me. Because then I could start loving myself. Because I'm a man.
Yeah.
And I was holding all those things against myself. And so it just opened up this availability to start loving myself. And the way I only knew how was to show up and be as vulnerable as I can. And to go as deep as I can every time for the sake of myself and my children.
And I really see you doing that. I see you doing it. I felt you doing it. It was intimidating to get in there with you and grapple. we're both big dudes, you know what I'm saying? and man, like, it's so powerful. I'm curious, like, when was it, if at all, when you finally said, like, oh, my body is safe, like, I'm safe in my body?
God, so many moments, but I the ritual combat was one of them when I can actually tell the person I was in there with to stop.
Yeah.
I could ask for what I wanted. Because I couldn't tell these other people to stop. They just kept coming at me as a kid. I couldn't say stop, and when I did stop, it was ignored. So to be in the ring, you know, with a brother
in the dome,
and to be able to tell him to stop and have him stop, created this safety around it that, oh man, okay, if it happens here, it can happen everywhere. And I took that into shadow work. I took that into everything else that my voice mattered and that I could say stop and it would be honored.
Yeah.
And it was
powerful.
And it was this reclaiming of my voice.
Yeah. Yeah. And in that reclaiming of your voice, you know, we recently had a post go viral on Instagram, which featured you. It's simply speaking to the fact that when you go into process, when you're doing your work, speaking from your mother tongue is not only beneficial, but it's a requirement to really access those places and those things that you've been through. And so just from here, I would just love for you to expand on it. What does it mean for you to come into a space like that and feel not only allowed, but inspired to bring it through in Spanish, to speak your truth in Spanish, to sing your song in your mother tongue?
Yes. I believe you were there the first time I jumped into it in Spanish.
Yeah.
So I touched on there's a big anger piece towards my father.
Yeah.
Because part of it was I couldn't understand how the man that's supposed to love me and protect me probably hurt me the most growing up. I couldn't bring that. I couldn't put that in its place in my mind. And I don't think I had to. There had to be that discomfort, because when I accessed that piece in Spanish, it brought forth how much I love him.
Mm.
And the depth of the pain was because I loved him so much. It wasn't that he hit me. It wasn't that he did what he did. It was that I loved that man so much. And to be able to say it in Spanish just took me back to those moments where we would have these interactions. And I couldn't see my dad. I didn't know who he was when he was going through those moments with me. But I always came back to him. You know, I always came back. And so processing it in Spanish just allowed me to access a deeper level of understanding of what was there, And then also releasing the trauma in a different way, where it was
Yeah.
like, I felt it, I moved it, and now I'm good.
Yeah. It was almost like it gave you the ability to really access it because you
Yeah.
weren't telling a story.
Right.
You can access the depth of that pain, of that trauma, and allow it to express itself in the way that your inner boy would have wanted it to.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And so in that moment for me, it's revealing to me like, oh man, it's not even for me, it's not even about the words. There's so much that can be moved with our energy. It doesn't have to be in a story, it doesn't have to even be spoken, yet here you are allowing it to channel from you and to have that release.
Yeah.
And now we have I'm going to stay here, but we have men coming in from all around the world, and you've witnessed this with us. We have brothers coming from Mexico, from Canada, from Europe, from Africa. It's truly incredible. And I've seen processes in sign language, brother.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like where a man needed to speak to his parents, and they're deaf, and he needed to sign to enable them to move that out of his body because that's how it was coming through him. So I really feel the power in what you're speaking. So in your own way, if you were speaking to a brother or sister who is bilingual, who maybe has adopted American culture and English language, what would you say to them in terms of accessing or confronting their own trauma?
Mm. Yeah, what I have found for me is that those trauma points in my life have become the greatest access points to the deepest healings.
Mm,
And to do it in my native tongue, to do it in Spanish, just opened up those portals even bigger. Because not only was I accessing the trauma, but generational pieces too, of things that were passed on to my dad. My dad just did what they did to him. And
right.
that's the understanding I got when I was doing it in Spanish. It's like, man, this has been passed down generation through generation. And now I get to break this here with me.
Yeah.
And then it moves forward, right? And so there is a space that's available to go into this where it's not just like a physical or a uh, emotional release, but it's like this whole embodiment of infinite possibilities on the other side of this healing piece that's available. And what I realized is when I went through that, I was jumping off a cliff that I was never going to land again. Like
Mm,
this work is continual. When I first
yeah.
started, I thought at some point I would receive like a certificate, like, you made it. Here you go, right? But that's not how it works. And so it's like this continual willingness opens up to just keep showing up that way and to keep being vulnerable and to keep being um, authentic with what's there. And nothing gets more authentic to me than when I'm speaking to another brother in Spanish
Yeah.
or doing the work with them and helping them move through things like that right there. That connection, so much is said unspoken because that energy line is just moving things, at a faster pace.
Yeah. Like you almost shift the frequency of the collective in that moment. And once the frequency is there, everything else is accessible and will
Everything.
transpire. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really
Mhm.
feel that. And I appreciate you bringing that through in our community. And I
Mhm.
really see you as the one, just so you know, for me. Like I was there, I witnessed the moment it happened, it shifted everything for us all
Mm.
to the point where now we can have the courage to say we have leaders who can go to Mexico and who can hold this
Yes.
space
Yes.
because they've been through it and because they are it. And let's just go back a little bit in your history. You're originally from El Salvador.
Yeah. Born in El
Uh,
Salvador.
Yeah. What was the journey? I know you're living in Orange County now, California. What was the journey for you as a young man and to kind of arrive where you are now?
Yeah, born in El Salvador. We crossed the border when I was 2 through
Yeah.
Texas. I have vivid memories. We got caught like 3 times, so I have vivid memories of sitting on the knee of the immigration officer as they're taking us back to wherever they was taking us. But we eventually
Wow.
made it. We made it through, and we took a train from Texas to Los Angeles. And as a baby, I never had both parents present because my dad was either here in the States working and sending money back, or my mom was over here working and sending money back. So my primary caretaker was my grandma.
Mm. And
And
then what was your life kind of growing up in LA?
grew up in the West Adams area. It was rough. Was bussed out to Sherman Oaks early on just because my dad didn't want us to be in the hood. So we were bussed out. So it was a 3-hour ride to school back and forth every morning.
Oh wow.
Uh, and that was my first introduction to, it's when they first started bussing people out. So it's my first introduction to like Sherman Oaks. I've never seen Sherman Oaks before, and
Right.
that was interesting to navigate. And yeah, I mean, uh, hmm. Yeah, so that was interesting to navigate. And then, started working when I was 18. Um, School and I didn't get along very well, so I didn't do the college thing. Started working in a residential facility with kids that were removed from the state, from their home and put into these living facilities. So I worked out for a couple years and then turned into a 15 year career there.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. You have over 15 years experience in social services, the key word there being service.
Hmm.
And I see you showing up in service. I see you training others and working out. What's the part of you or your heart that feels called to service? Feels called to be in service with your energy.
I wouldn't be here without the help of a lot of people
Yeah.
that took time, to say a couple words here and there, you know,
Yeah.
and reflecting back, without those little moments in time of people being willing to set time aside for me, I don't know where my life would be. And if I could just give that back somehow, just an ounce of what I received from them, that's where my heart is, just
Yeah.
helping others, because I know the pain and I know how hard it is sometimes to not want to wake up, or not to know, not want the next day to come, and
Yeah.
if I can just help somehow, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah. It's a beautiful sentiment, and it's humbling as well. You know what I mean? And one of the ways I also experience you showing up is through Father's Council, which I'm very passionate about. Like,
Yeah.
man, like what's up in the world? We don't have safe spaces or spaces in period for fathers to get together and chat about what's been challenging for them. And so
Right.
we've been having these councils for a few years now, and I'm just curious from your perspective, um, in holding the councils and also showing up to them, how has that deepened you in your journey of fatherhood?
Yeah, it's expanded my awareness of it, right? Because I'm not just yes, I'm father to my 3 kids, but then I'm also father to all of it.
Yeah.
And the
As
way I
Stephen Jenkinson told us, be a father to everyone else's kids.
That's right. That's right. And
you know?
I take that responsibility
Yeah.
to heart. And my thing is, always leave them in a better place than you found them. Like, make that
Mm.
interaction uplifting. And I've always taken that That's my mission in life, is to be able to assist those kids that struggle or that have tough times, to get them through that, because that's all it takes sometimes, is a little hand to pull you through, and everything's all right, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it
Yeah.
just expanded my awareness of that, and also to be there for other fathers, because this, for me, the struggle is real, man. It's a constant 24/7 job of awareness.
Yeah.
Because if I'm not aware, then I'll slip into these little reaction points where I'll react and then say something or do something that's not in alignment, and then we'll have to go back and just talk to my kids and be like, "Hey, I'm sorry, that wasn't you. Like, that was me. I
Yeah.
apologize," and make that okay. So even having that piece come through of being willing to go to them and say, I was not in a good space, I apologize, is a big one for me,
Yeah.
and for them too, because they're like, "Oh, okay, that's cool," you know. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I want to go further in here, but I was going to say there's a part of this journey of awareness and of specific action where it's also like our kids don't need us to apologize to them, right? What they need is for us to show up. What they
Right.
need is for us to do the things we say we're going to do. And so sometimes speaking in a group of other men who are going through similar challenges, I got my hand up too, bro. It's a daily challenge,
Yeah.
straight up. We have to make choices every single day for sure.
Hmm.
And being able to speak about it opens up this aspect of ourselves where typically we would suppress those things, where we wouldn't apologize, where we wouldn't make the behavioral shift. But speaking in a group to other men, it kind of allows us to move some of that, to not to decompress or to ventilate some of those energies that typically would get suppressed. So have you felt yourself more embodied? Have you felt yourself able to make better choices in the moment, to not react but to respond?
Oh, absolutely. That's what this last year and a half has been. Is like this whole all in with them. At the moment, I have both boys playing baseball, so I'm out in the
Nice.
baseball field 6 days out of the week. You know,
Wow.
I'll go to work, come back, pick them up, go to practice, and so we're constantly. And I'm coaching my little boys' uh, baseball team. So it's not only him. I have 10 other kids that we're working with, and so it's this constant rededication every day of, yeah, I'm doing this, because there's days I'm so tired after
Yeah.
work or something, and my heart is just like, all right, let's reset and let's go. So it's this willingness to just get in there with them, get in there and provide for them the experience that I didn't have, because my dad was always working. He
Yeah.
was taking care of the basic needs. So he never went to our games, he never did this. And now I get to do that. I get to show up for them that way, and to be able to move, to help them and all that. And so there's this beautiful coming together of these things, that my dad got me this far, and now I could take it from here and
Yeah.
do it differently with this generation that's coming up.
One of the things I love is that I can see how much appreciation you still have for your father, right? It's like you move through and you work through some of those pieces, and it's not, and as you said earlier, the work is never done, but you've had significant shifts. And so I was wondering if we could go back into your original intention, which was the ancestral healing. And I get this, showing up for the ball games and showing up 6 days a week. It might sound simple. That might sound like that's a small thing, but it's not. The impact that that's having down the line, and the hope is on your children's children, on your children's children's children.
Children's, yes.
Could you speak a little bit about your specific understanding of ancestral healing?
Sure. This came through in a ayahuasca ceremony when I was in Peru with Fabian, and
Yeah.
the message was loud and clear. The first one was, you can't. So this was Source talking to me. She said, "You can't trust me when you want to trust me. You got to trust me with all of it." And so and so I realized I was compartmentalizing a lot, because that's what I had to do growing up. I had to compartmentalize things just to make it through a day. I had to put things in their place.
Right.
And so that message, what it did was it just opened up this availability of being able to see things as one. And within that oneness was the ancestral work that came through really strong. And my grandma, who walks this path with me every day, showed up and just said, the work you're doing now is 7 generations back and 7 generations forward. Stay the course. Stay the course. And so I'm very aware of the fact that everything I do now has ripples both ways. And I am committed. I cannot tell you, I am committed to doing what needs to be done now, so it doesn't have to be taken care of later.
Right.
And I am open to the guidance of my grandma and all my ancestors. And for a long time, I thought I had to arrive at a certain point, or I had to get somewhere to be with the ancestors. And the message that came through was like, no, your ancestors are in you. They are your bones. They are your lungs. They are your heart, your eyes. They're in you. And they're flowing through you. And that was my experience at the last EMX, was this connection to the land and to my ancestors that were just flowing. And just like, yes, the work, yes, the fun, yes, the tears, all of it, all of it, all of it, all of it. It's ancestral. Like it's not, it's yeah.
And here's the subtle piece that you just touched on that I love, which is it's not, all right, 1 second, which is it's not that you're living for them. It's that they are living through you.
Yes, sir.
You feel what the difference is? It's like, I'm not living to impress them. I'm not living to impress anyone or my children even. They are living through me.
Yeah.
And because of that, I am willing to be a vessel.
Yeah.
And it takes that flip, that willingness for us to go, please be with me, live through me. You know, and I even, as I just said that, I just thought of the Star Wars Rey, where she's asking the Jedi, be with me, be with me. And there's some like semblance of truth there, where when we are in ceremony, but when we're in the ceremony of life, we call in our ancestors to be with us so that they may live through us, so that they may experience what they previously were not able to, so that we may help to alleviate some of that pain that they lived with.
Yes.
And there's a truth in the sensation that it's felt. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that might be a hard concept to grasp. How can someone who lived 7 generations prior to me feel the impact? What would you say to that question?
The message that came through was that you are the answer to your ancestors' prayer. You are what they held ceremony for. You are what they prayed for. And so, in holding that dear to my heart, if they're with me 7, 9, 10 generations back, I'm connected to them.
Yeah.
And I picked up where they left off. And I said yes, and I'm willing to do the work. And that's how I know. Because there's moments in this journey for me where I felt so connected, like so in alignment, so in love with myself, which would not have been possible 4 years ago.
Mm.
In a return, I can love my children. I can love my wife. I can love my brothers. I can love my dog. Like, that's how it works from the inside out.
Yes.
So that's why you're there. Because there's some stuff I know that I don't know how I know it, but I just know it.
Yeah.
I just know it.
Mm.
And I don't have to know why I know it. I just have to be okay with it and hold it. And when the time is right, the clarity comes in, the vision pools, and I show up. Boom.
Boom. Now come back to present. Here we are, the intersection of creation itself in the vessel of Hugo. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so how do we pay it forward? With our prayers, with our thoughts, with our words, with our actions. How do we send that energy forward? 7, 10 generations.
The evidence I have is the way my children are unfolding.
Mm.
The way that they're moving through life right now because of the space they're given, because of the work. You know, they know when I go away on weekends, I tell them I got to go work on my feelings. Like, I tell them, like, I got to go get right.
Yeah.
So they're fully aware of my journey. Or I'm going to go to Peru, I have to go, you know, so that they know. And so watching them move through life and watching them make choices that I was too scared to make as a kid.
Yeah.
It's like the proof. It's like the evidence in front of me. Like, yeah, this is moving forward. Because they're gonna be their paradigm, if they choose to be parents, will be different. Their experience will be different. And so it can only be that way. And then going inwardly for myself, taking care of my little boy inside that was hurting so much, but is finally able to be like, bro, I'm here. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I got you. I got you.
Yeah.
I'm here. I got you. It can only, the only way that works if it's rippling ahead of time or behind. Like, that's the only way for me that I understand it. It's like it's happening inside of me. So therefore it has to be happening everywhere else.
Yes. Yes. There's a sense when we're in these spaces with medicine, you know, with brotherhood, whatever it is, that our healing is not linear. It's not on linear time.
It's not.
And so, boom, come back to present. What can we do in this moment to provide healing, to provide guidance to our younger self, to our future self? You know, this is this is the mode to be in. This is the frame of reference to navigate. And so I love how you're bringing that through, because that boy who was once shut down is now online and alive again now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and this is where consciousness, awareness, willingness comes into play.
Yeah.
And so, and from that place, we can experience more life. We have more capacity to show up for others. And so I'm gonna shift it here, because you just mentioned the last EMX in San Diego that we were at recently. And bro, I was blown away by your facilitation. You know, like I was blown away by you as a participant. Don't get me wrong. And you as a human being, you know what I'm saying, as a brother, as a friend. But to witness you now holding space for others in that same way that, you know, that was once held for you and is currently still being held for you, but like to see you show up and hold that space for other men who are just, you know, I'll use the term waking up, but who are just coming online. You know, what is the experience of that shift like for you?
Oh, it's been huge. I remember Jason Mack saying something to me back. He said, you know, leadership does something to self-development. I didn't understand what he meant. He said it probably a year and a half ago. But it landed that weekend where it was like, there's something bigger beyond what I see or what my senses pick up. And going through the leadership, you know, LT1, LT2, and moving through all that was cultivated this awareness and this, like you said, this willingness to listen. To listen to that voice inside. For so long, I listened to the other one, right? Not worthy, not good enough, broken, all that stuff. But this time, this other voice came in that was like, bro, you got this. Just listen. You don't need to know. Just be present. And there was this letting go of the letting go.
Say that again. Letting go
of the letting go. And I found myself in this space of unknowingness, of not knowing what I was going to say, how I was going to say it. But when the time came, my heart knew how to communicate. My heart was present.
Yeah.
And that has been one of my biggest shifts up to now, where I used to say, I want to be a good dad. I want to be a good husband. I want to be a good student. I want to be a good worker. And what Grandma Medicine said, like, no, bro, how about just being a good person? Just have a good heart and let everything else come from that. Show up from that space. And so that weekend was that point of like reference of like, yep, there it is. This is what J Mac meant, and this is what Mother. I was like, okay, it's all coming together. I was so happy, man. I felt so good. Such a beautiful experience.
Just from my outside witness of what was happening, like I really saw you fully present, holding space for other brothers going through it. And it's true, there is something that's revealed to us through leadership, whether we're, you know, a leader in our own life or leadership in our families or in our profession, whatever it is. There's an aspect of ourselves as men that needs to be tested, that needs to step in and say, can I hold it?
Yeah.
Can I take myself out of it? Mm-hmm. Because you're not leading anyone to yourself. You're leading someone to themselves, just as you were, right? Yeah. And so it's like, can I fully remove myself? Can I fully let go of letting go to be present? I love that. I love that.
Yeah. You know, and being okay, for me, it was being okay with having this like imposter idea present.
Yeah.
But yet being aware of it, but yet having this other idea, this infinite idea present, and choosing the infinite idea.
It's a choice, bro.
It's a choice.
It's a choice.
It's a choice. Because in my mind, at some point, I was like, oh, all these doubts and fears are going to go away. Well, no, it's not true. For me, they stayed. Mm-hmm. And they're constantly there checking in. Hey, where are we with this? Where are you with this piece? And then that's my opportunity to be like, oh, I'm right here. Look, I'm still moving. So to be having these two feelings at the same time has been one of my biggest growth edges, you know.
Yeah. And so did you have a sense, because this is what I feel for myself too. It's not about how much you know, it's not about how many books you read or how much training you've done even. There's something that happens where it's like my presence, my life experience, and my embodiment as a human being is enough in this moment right now. I have everything accessible to me in the infinite universe to be here to hold space for someone. Yeah. And it's enough.
It's enough.
It's enough.
It's enough. I'm enough. Yeah.
Yeah. So I look forward to seeing more of that version of yourself in our spaces. So, I mentioned in the beginning, we're going to be coming to Mexico City, which is, dude, you and I had a conversation about this around the fire maybe a year ago, or where I'm like, let's expand, let's bring this to the brothers in Mexico City. And so here we are on the precipice of that. We're going to be doing it in the fall. I would love to invite you, in Espanol to send an invite. How would you invite brothers from Mexico City who are maybe observed us from the outside, who may be sitting on the fence a little bit, like, who are these guys? What are they up to? And there's a lot of that. And don't get me wrong, I understand all of the questioning. There's a lot of false idols in this world. I'll say it like that. And I'm proud to lead with the fact that Sacred Sons is an authentic community. We're real people. We're not claiming to be perfect. There's no gurus. The age of the guru is over. But we're a brotherhood. We're a collective of men dedicated to being better than we were yesterday. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
How would you invite in those brothers from Mexico City?
Hermanos, es tiempo. No estamos solos. Estamos aquí para soportarlos, para ayudarlos y estar presente con ustedes. Si hay alguna duda o algún miedo presente, todos bienvenido. Toda parte de ustedes es bienvenido. Y nuestra intención es de ayudarlos a conectar al corazón para que nuestras familias, nuestros hijos, pero más que todo nosotros mismos, podamos querernos en una manera sin condiciones y ser un beneficio a este mundo y a todos con los que tenemos interacciones. Los hijos sagrados es un lugar donde podemos venir juntos, corazón a corazón, hombro a hombro, y ayudarnos a sí mismos a ser la mejor versión de nosotros posible. Vengan, aquí estamos y vamos a estar en México para poder trabajar lo que tenemos que trabajar en nuestro lenguaje. Y con fuerza, con el corazón y valor, vamos a seguir adelante. Porque sí se puede, hermanos. Sí se puede.
Yes, we can, brothers. We can do this, brothers.
We can do this. Yes, we can.
And we can only do it together, bro.
That's right.
This is the truth of what I have experienced. It's the old African proverb, as they say, like, if you want to go far, go alone. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And this is the long game. This is what we signed up for. This is what the soul contract was in the beginning. And just here with you now, I'm like, damn, there's something about your soul that sent you, Hugo. I got to get better at that. That sent you, and that knew that you were enough, that knew you were worthy, that knew that you could be the one to transmute this. And we all have to take that acknowledgement or responsibility up for ourselves. You feel me? Like we all have to make that choice. We all have to wake up and make that choice.
Yeah.
And so now it's time.
It's time.
We've been shown, here we are in April 2022. We've been shown that the governments are not here to save us. No one is coming to save us. I'm still waiting on this alien disclosure. You know what I'm saying? We'll see what the UFOs are up to, but they're not here to save us either.
They're not. No.
You know what I'm saying?
They're just watching.
They're just watching the show. They're like, damn, let's see how our little experiment's going. Yeah. Anyways, with that, it's our responsibility to say, you know what? I decide I'm choosing to be a better version of myself than I was yesterday. You know what I mean? Like, Yeah, that's what I want to say.
Yeah.
And you're an example of it. I also want to say, bro, I think you dropped like 80 pounds in the last year and a half.
Man, no. I did my came in at 2018. Sacred Sons, I was weighing about 270, 275.
Wow. Yeah.
Present day, I'm down to 208. So in 4 years, it's been quite a journey with my physical body, and it's all been in alignment with my inner work. As I've released a lot of emotional things, my physical body has responded.
Yeah.
But now my experience is, as I'm continuing to fine tune the vessel and to become more available, I'm revisiting things at a deeper level. So the big piece for me right now is going back into these events that once were the pain that pushed me into these rooms, and going back and seeing God in all these moments of trauma and feeling this sense of gratitude for them, because without them, I wouldn't be here. I remember Kevin Walton introduced that to me, where he's like, you can be grateful for shit that happens to you. And my mind was blown. I'm like, what? Don't you understand how painful it was? This was early on.
Yeah.
But that planted the seed to now be able to go back and look at these events that happen and be like, oh, like God was there. Like spirit was there watching. Like yeah, it was painful, but I made it through. Like I'm here. Like something pulled me through that. So now I'm all about growing through grace rather than growing through pain. Like I rather grow through this awareness of love and peace, and like, oh, I see this piece of me coming up. Let me love it to death. Like let me love it, literally love it to death. Like let me bring you in here and tell you how much I love you, Shadow,
Right.
so that we can be good, you know. And then my little boy inside just celebrates those moments because so much shame and guilt was put on him by me,
Mm.
by me. Because
Right.
I picked up right where my abusers left off. And I picked up in a way that was, in my experience, harsher. Because
Yeah.
nobody was doing it to me. I was doing it to myself. And so to be able to start removing those layers of shame and guilt from that little boy inside has allowed me to show up as a man differently, because he's like, cool, I'm taken care of. I don't have to drive the bus. Like, I'm okay. I'm good. Like,
Yeah.
like Hugo's got me, you know?
Do you feel that your inner voice has shifted then, through the work and through making these choices? Because what I've observed, what I've observed in so many men is that they're their worst critic. Not
Yeah.
only are they judging the external world, but they're judging themselves
Oh,
10 times as hard, talking down to themselves. Like, you know what I mean? And so we have to do the work to actually flip that inner critic that we have, to express it through gratitude, to
yeah.
express it through love. And that really is the mechanism, is through gratitude. Yeah, I
Mhm.
love that you touched on that.
Yeah, the gratitude piece, and also this willingness to take radical responsibility for my choices.
There you go.
To be able to go back and be like, damn, yeah, I did that. And now how am I going to treat the person that did that? Right? The shame and guilt. Like, am I going to love him? Am I going to love myself through that piece? And a big piece of that was when I started this journey 4 years ago, it came very clear that I couldn't be holding on to anything if I wanted to have the path show up for me. So I had to take responsibility for my actions, and I told my partner that I had stepped out on a marriage, and I knew that it was going to go. I could lose it all. I didn't know which way it was going to go, but I had to take responsibility for that. I had to come
Yeah.
clean because there was no way I could move on holding on to this thing.
Yeah, because that weighs on your soul.
Oh my
Like
God.
holding on to a lie like that, man, it's heavy.
It's heavy.
Yeah.
And so I had to show up that way and be okay with whatever the result was. And long story short, she decided to stay. A lot of things came up for us to work through, you know, did the whole therapy thing and moved through things. And now we have a closer relationship than we ever had. But it was a challenging time of seeing the consequences of my choices and being willing to sit through that in a way of awareness and not numbing out and not using different things to check out, but to be present through that. And so coming out of the other side of that is like, if I could take responsibility for that, which was to me the darkest secret I had, because for me, I'm only as sick as my secrets, then everything else, like I could take responsibility for eating that donut when I didn't want to eat it, or you know, that all that little things like that become big things because I would hold on to them.
Right.
So it's just this constant now of releasing and letting go of things and letting things fall apart, not wanting to patch them up before they fall apart, but just letting them disintegrate and then see what comes up after that.
Yeah, I like the term compost versus disintegrate, because
Yeah.
you're not wishing it away. What you're doing is putting it in the soil of yourself and allowing it to compost. And so out of that chaos, out of those decisions, out of those missteps, we can compost it into new life, into beauty, into new decisions, into new choices.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do.
Because we're not letting go of the person who we were. We're not abandoning the boy. We're bringing him with us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And in order to do that, there's a certain amount of composting that has to happen internally. Man, you're a living example of it to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, I remember the first time I saw you when you crossed that bridge.
I remember that.
I remember it too, man. You crossed that bridge and I asked you, why are you here? So now from this place, 4 years later, I want to ask you the same question. My brother, Hugo, why are you here?
I'm here to love, man. I'm here to love, to be love. I'm here to get dirty, to do the work, to show up how I need to show up. I'm here to be a father to my kids, a husband, to be a good human being, man. Just to be a good human being. And I'm here to love myself, to experience myself that way. You know?
Yeah.
And to
Thank you.
Just to show up for my brothers in any way I can, man. Yeah.
We've come a long way.
Yeah, we have, man.
We've come a long way. And there's more to come.
Yes, there is.
Yeah, there's more to come. Yeah, man. It's an honor, bro. Thank you for not only allowing yourself to go there, but for allowing others to witness you in that process. It matters. It's meaningful. It's been meaningful to me. I have teary eyes this entire conversation, just like to sit here with you and talk in this way. It's beautiful. Yeah, man. Why are we here? Brothers out there who are listening, check in with yourself. Why are you here? Remember your commitments. Remember that you have brothers to call if you need that accountability. When the old patterns start showing back up, reach out. This is one of the pieces that I've been bringing through more recently and always is just like stay connected. And even Hugo, with you and I, through COVID, you had to take care of family, and that was the priority, and that was like, cool. Hugo's got it. He's doing his thing. Restrictions lighten up. People are coming back into health. You're right back in the fold. And I also appreciate that about our journey together, because it's not all systems go all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like, yo, I got things to take care of.
Yeah.
But my brothers know I'll be back. I'll be back.
For sure. We'll pick up where we left off. Yeah.
And we always do, man, just like we never left. All right. With that, thank you. Thank you for sharing pieces of yourself. Is there anything that you would like to share with the brothers and sisters who may be listening?
Oh, man. Such a beautiful journey, and the big shift was going from the outside in to the inside out.
Yeah.
Just working it from there. Then I'm still in awe sometimes how things just unfold with that, without even having to do anything. Things start showing up and the synchronicities show up, and I'm just so grateful for it all, man. Grateful for it. 4 years ago, I didn't think this space was possible for me. And now that I'm in it, it's like, yeah, man, it's all worth it. It's all worth it.
Yeah, the journey continues. It is all worth it. It's an inside out game here, my brothers. So make that choice. What's the choice you need to make today? What's the peace that is waiting for you on the other side? With that, my brother Hugo Chacon, EMX Mexico City is coming. I couldn't be more grateful and also proud. There's a sense of pride, like, yes, here we go.
Here we go.
Kale calls us the indigenous missionaries. So the indigenous missionaries are coming back. We're coming down. We're coming we're bringing it back to Europe, like I'm saying.
Yeah.
Bringing the gold back to our brothers and sisters. That's what it's about, the reciprocity. And so I see you doing that. Honor you for doing that. Honor you for the journey thus far. There's more work to do. Let's go.
Let's do it, Adam. We got it.
Got this. With that, Hugo Chacon, Adam Jackson, Sacred Sons. We're out, family. Peace.
Peace.